Have you ever felt like you're floundering in a current, unable to swim anywhere? Trying to change others, but they stay the same. Striving for perfection, but results slip beyond your grasp. Stressed when misunderstood, anxious about an uncertain future, exhausted by things you can't control. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Most human unease doesn't come from what happens, but from trying to control what's beyond our power. This is what Stoics understood over 2,000 years ago. Epictetus taught that life splits into two, what we can control and what we can't. All misery starts when we confuse the two. When we pour time, energy, and emotions into what's not ours, we impoverish ourselves bit by bit. Only by focusing on what we truly master, our thoughts, actions, choices, reactions, do we begin to live freely. This video is your map to escape the maze of misplaced control. In the next 10 parts, I'll share the most powerful Stoic principles to help you reclaim energy from what you can't control and invest it back in yourself, where you hold full authority. If this is what you need, like the video to let me know you're here, and subscribe for clear, grounded, practical guidance every day. Number 1, true control is self-control. When you hear control, most think of power over others, circumstances, outcomes. They believe control means mastering the world, directing others' actions, making everything align with their will. But the wise, especially Stoics, know true control starts within, specifically with self-control. Without self-control, you're a slave to your emotions, reflexes, and environment. You might have status, fame, wealth, or influence, but if you can't tame your anger, stay calm when provoked, resist fleeting desires, or conquer vague fears, you're weak. Epictetus said true freedom belongs to those not enslaved by passions or emotions. Stoics don't chase external power, they forge the ability to command their inner world. That's why self-control is the first and most vital layer of all control. Self-control is standing steady in a storm. It's choosing silence when enraged. It's not reacting to provocation to prove a point. It's finishing work when exhausted because discipline trumps inspiration. It's staying kind despite disappointment, not letting negativity taint your actions. Self-control isn't feeling nothing. It's feeling everything, but choosing rational responses over instincts. In today's world, self-control sets apart those who thrive from those who stagnate. Truly successful people aren't always smarter, luckier, or more advantaged. They just master themselves better. They know when to speak or stay silent. They avoid impulsive actions or snap emotional decisions. They retreat to reflect or advance with intent. Crucially, they aren't dragged by the world's chaos. Those lacking self-control are easily manipulated. A jab sparks their temper. A rejection crushes them. A small setback triggers panic or surrender. Their lives are ruled by external forces because they lack inner stability. Meanwhile, those who master themselves don't need to control others. They don't need to win arguments to affirm worth. They don't rely on validation to live rightly. They rule their mind, granting absolute freedom. Self-control isn't innate. It's forged daily. You build it waking early instead of snoozing, reading over mindless scrolling, pausing to think rather than reacting, choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. Each disciplined choice strengthens your will, like gym reps building muscle. The more you practice, the stronger your core becomes. Remarkably, once you master yourself, you lose the urge to control others. You don't need to force change for peace. You don't need to win debates to hold value. You're less vulnerable to judgment or criticism. You know you can't rule the world, but you rule how you walk through it. That's ultimate power. If you felt swayed by your surroundings, lost control when hurt, or lashed out in anger, that doesn't make you weak. It shows room to forge true strength. Strength isn't suppressing emotions. It's using them as fuel for clear action. Remember, self-discipline doesn't curb freedom. It's the only path to it. When you're no longer a slave to instincts, you live consciously. With consciousness, you choose your path. With choice, you live awake, not a shadow pushed by life's winds. If this hits what you need to hone, stability, discipline, emotional mastery, comment, I choose to control myself. Like the video if you've lost control before and now seek solidity. Subscribe if you want daily reminders that true control doesn't start with changing the world. It starts with changing how you face yourself. Number 2, control your thoughts and actions. Ibridi, of all the things you might try to control in life, only 2 are truly in your hands, your thoughts and your actions. Everything else, others' feelings, their reactions, events, weather, politics, markets, outcomes, is beyond you. This is the bedrock of any robust philosophy, yet the hardest truth for the human ego to accept. We crave control over our surroundings, scripting life to match our plans. Disappointment, helplessness, or anger often arise not from bad events, but from refusing to accept we can't control them. A loved one doesn't listen, a partner betrays, a project fails. We think we could have stopped it, but we only control how we think and respond. That response defines who you are. Stoicism isn't abstract musing, it's a practical tool for living. It draws a line between what's yours and what isn't. Grasping this, you stop wasting energy blaming others for misunderstanding you or fretting over what's not ideal. You channel clarity into what you can do. Choose better thoughts, take wiser actions. You can't pick rain or sun today, but you can grab a raincoat or stay home. You can't control praise or criticism, but you can learn from it or ignore it for peace. You can't make a lover stay, but you can act with dignity or cling in desperation. In every case, focusing on your thoughts and actions ensures you're never powerless, no matter life's chaos. Thoughts are the foundation, actions the expression. Clear thinking yields clear behavior, but chaotic thoughts breed erratic actions. Stoics train their minds first, then their deeds. They ask, what am I thinking? Is this accurate? Does it strengthen or weaken me? Then they act from reason, not emotion, unmoved by flattery, criticism, or others' moods. Many live without auditing their thoughts. They let any idea linger, blurt out feelings, or erupt in frustration, thinking it's honest. But they're led by unchecked thinking, like a brakeless car hurtling downhill. A clear-headed person pauses to check, is this what I want to think? Does it align with my values? Can I choose another perspective? True freedom starts when you realize you can choose your thoughts. No one can force a belief on you unless you allow it. No one can make you feel worthless unless you buy into it. No one can drive you mad unless you hand them your emotional reins. This isn't coldness, it's clarity, refusing to let anyone or anything outside define you. A mature man doesn't rely on favorable conditions. He stands firm through change. He may hurt but isn't swept away. He may falter but stays lucid. He may stray briefly but returns, knowing the only thing he always controls is how he thinks and acts. No one can steal that. If you felt powerless trying to control what's not yours, it's time to choose again. Pull back your energy. Pour it into what you can shape daily. Clearer thoughts, sharper actions. Train yourself not just to react, but to choose your response. Each time you do, you reclaim power from the outside and root it where it belongs, within you. If this stirs a part of you craving clarity, where you're done controlling others, outcomes, or circumstances and ready to focus on yourself, comment, I control my thoughts and actions. Like the video if you've lost control by fixating on the wrong things, and now choose to master what's yours. Subscribe, because a clear life starts with one right thought, one right act, then a whole life aligned. Number 3, reclaim your energy from the uncontrollable. Ever feel drained without knowing why? You didn't do anything grueling, faced no major conflict, yet by evening you're exhausted, mind heavy, mood low for no clear reason. It's like your energy leaks out, untouched by others. If this resonates, you're likely grappling with a common trap. You're unconsciously pouring energy into things you can't control. This is a silent affliction of our age. We swim in an ocean of information, endless choices, clashing opinions, and invisible pressure to keep up. Our minds slip from our grasp, yanked from the present into drama, others' judgments, future fears, or past regrets. Each time a sliver of your most precious resource, your energy, drains to feed what's beyond your reach. You can't control what others think of you, yet you fret all day about their approval. You can't sway online crowds, but a negative comment ruins your mood. You can't dictate tomorrow's economy, but bad news stresses you for weeks. These aren't yours to command, yet they cost you dearly. Peace, focus, action, and ultimately, your will to live. Stoics saw this early. They knew life's energy is finite. Each morning you wake with a limited energy fund. Spend it on what's uncontrollable, and you'll lack enough for what matters. Self-improvement, meaningful work, nurturing real relationships, or simply savoring a quiet afternoon. Stoics choose differently. They don't let energy bleed pointlessly. They reclaim their attention, care, and vitality, investing it where it counts, themselves. Picture every worry, irritation, envy, or resentment over the uncontrollable as opening a tap, letting your energy drip away. At first, it's unnoticeable, but weeks, months, years later, you're depleted, not because you're weak, but because your strength flowed to the wrong place. Cruelly, modern society fuels this. Social media algorithms hook your attention with what you can't control. Bad news, comparisons, judgments, fake praise, emotional traps. Without clarity, you'll stay weary, even doing little. The only escape is to recognize and redirect. When pulled towards something beyond your control, ask, is this mine to handle? If not, stop, breathe. Return to what you can do now. A small action, a clear thought, something kind to your mental health. Read instead of scrolling news. Sit quietly for 10 minutes instead of arguing online. Text a loved one instead of checking others' opinions of you. Each small, awake act seals a leak. A strong person isn't all-knowing, all-doing, or always winning. They choose where to place their energy. They don't waste effort changing others or controlling the future. They pour all resources into refining their thoughts, actions, and character. Bit by bit, steadily, deeply. From there, they don't need to strain to live. They live with depth, unswayed by the world's breath. If you're sapped, unfocused, doubtful, or adrift without cause, you need to reclaim your energy. Cut ties with the uncontrollable. Release people not yours. Ignore meaningless judgments. Mute channels that cloud your mind. Each act saves a piece of your vitality. Comment, I reclaim my energy for myself. If you've dwelled too much on what you can't control and are ready to choose again, like the video if this feels like a reset for your inner system. Subscribe for daily reminders to live deeply, clearly, and steadily in a chaotic world. Number 4, choose intentional response over reaction. Most people don't live proactively, they react. Someone says something harsh, they snap back in anger. A result falls short, they complain. Rejected, they sulk in self-doubt or resentment. Facing difficulty, they dodge or lash out. They think they're being real, natural, true to their emotions, but they're living by instinct, surrendering their agency. Stoics are different. They don't react instantly. They pause, observe, analyze, question. Only then do they respond, not because they're forced, but because they choose. This is the difference between reaction and response. Reaction is automatic, impulsive, uncontrolled. Response is conscious, deliberate, chosen. Reacting means you're pulled by the outside. Responding means you steer from within. This is one of the most powerful mental skills you can hone. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always choose how to respond. Someone's unreasonable? You can't make them change, but you can respond with calm instead of rage. A failure stings? You can't erase it, but you can respond by learning, not whining. A relationship disappoints? You can't control the other person, but you can respond with clarity and resolve instead of enduring in silence. Every change in your life starts the moment you stop reacting and start responding intentionally. The moment you pause mid-anger to ask, "Am I doing this right?" The moment you hear criticism and wonder, "What here can make me better?" The moment you feel hurt and instead of retaliating, choose to preserve your character. That's when you stop being a product of circumstance. You become the creator of your own life. Many think quick reactions show strength, but true strength is slowing down a beat, not to avoid, but to check. Am I driven by emotion or in control of my response? An intentional person doesn't need to always be right, win, or seem strong. They know what they're doing and why. That clarity sets them apart, granting unshakable inner calm. The pause between stimulus and response is where you build freedom. If someone insults you and you curse back, you're not free, you're manipulated. But if you pause, breathe, observe your rising emotions, and choose a fitting response, you're free. You're wielding a mature person's power to respond from reason, not instinct. That doesn't weaken you, it strengthens you, making you harder to control. People judge you not by your words, but by how you handle adversity. When life's easy, anyone's kind. But when insulted, rejected, or misunderstood, your response reveals how far you've honed yourself. Stoics aren't perfect, but they stay lucid to preserve character in the toughest moments. They don't let circumstances strip the strength built through inner discipline. A well-timed response can save a relationship, a workday, or yourself from a bad choice. A knee-jerk reaction can ruin years of reputation, hurt loved ones, or trap you in unfixable situations. Training intentional response isn't just a soft skill, it's a vital strength. If you react too fast, let emotions steer, or regret your words later, you're not alone. We've all been there. But what matters is, will you pause to practice? Each time you hold your tongue instead of wounding, choose courtesy over retaliation, or listen without interrupting, you build inner calm. That calm becomes a silent weapon, guarding you for life. If this speaks to what you need to train, slowing down, staying clear, responding over reacting, comment, "I choose intentional response." Like the video if you've regretted rash reactions and now see a better path. Subscribe if you want daily reminders to live proactively, choosing rather than being pulled. True freedom begins when you say, "I won't react anymore, I'll respond." Number 5, let go of illusions of power over others. One of the greatest illusions we carry is the belief we can change, direct, or control others. We don't say it aloud, but we act as if it's true. We strive to do everything right to be loved. We choose words to avoid judgment. We strain to make someone understand, accept, or stay with us. Each time we unconsciously hand others the reins of our emotions without realizing it. Reflect. Have you felt sad because someone didn't text back promptly? Disappointed when someone didn't return your affection as expected? Angry when someone didn't change despite your efforts? If so, you're living in an illusion, the belief that others should act per your expectations. The truth is, no one exists to follow your script. Accepting this brings immense relief. Stoicism teaches a simple yet hard to practice truth. Let go of wanting to control others. Stoics don't live to steer anyone. They master themselves. They don't change others for peace. They shift their perspective for clarity. They don't love to force reciprocation, understanding, or compliance. They love freely without binding or coercing, knowing any expectation placed on others is a double-edged sword. One edge often cuts themselves. Believing you can control others breeds constant disappointment. No one changes unless they choose to. The more you push, the more they resist. The harder you press, the further they drift. You can influence, not command. You can inspire, not enforce. You can share thoughts, not dictate truth. When you stop trying to control others, you reclaim what you've long lost, yourself. Letting go isn't indifference. It's not tying your emotions to others' outcomes. You still care, stay sincere, wish well, but you don't trade your peace for it. You don't use emotions as leverage to force change. You don't give others power to make you happy or sad. Paradoxically, when you let go, you draw closer to what truly connects with you, because it comes from freedom, not control. Trying to control others disconnects you from reality. You live in a fantasy. They should be this way. They shouldn't do that. They must understand me. They owe me gratitude. But life doesn't run on shoulds. It runs on nature. Each person is a unique world with their past, beliefs, limits, and freedom. You can't barge into their life and rearrange it to suit you. You can only choose, stay or leave, speak or stay silent, shift your view or cling to hurt. The wise don't live saying, "I'll change this person." They live saying, "I'll embody my values. If someone changes because of it, great. If not, I stay true." They don't force others to stay. They create space so genuine bonds form willingly. They don't trade self-respect for conditional relationships. They love deeply, but don't cling. They care truly, but don't control. If you've exhausted yourself trying to change someone, lost faith when they didn't act as hoped, or strained to be understood, it's time to drop this illusion. You don't need to control anyone. Just master yourself. Live rightly in the right people, outcomes and connections will come naturally. Comment, "I let go of controlling others." If you've been caught in this illusion and now choose clarity. Like the video if you feel lighter realizing you're not obligated to steer anyone's life. Subscribe for daily reminders to live clearer, freer, stronger. The path to strength isn't holding others. It's holding yourself steady amid what you can't grasp. Number 6, accept reality to master. If people often think if they deny reality long enough, it'll bend to their will. They cling to expectations, assumptions, and what should have been, using them to fight what's actually happening. But you can't conquer life without facing it head on. You can't control what you don't understand, and you can't understand what you refuse to acknowledge. This is why Stoics emphasize accepting reality, not to resign, but to act wisely. Denying reality means battling the unchangeable. You waste energy trying to twist life to your liking instead of learning to live smarter within it. The wise don't curse reality. They don't say, "This shouldn't have happened." They say, "It happened. How do I respond?" That's the first step to stop being a victim of circumstance and start shaping your path. Acceptance isn't surrender. It's simply stopping denial. Accepting someone no longer loves you lets you heal. Accepting failure lets you learn, not blame. Accepting physical weakness lets you plan to strengthen. Clinging to illusions or falsehoods keeps you from starting the right journey. You're stuck at a false starting line. Stoics aren't blindly optimistic or pessimistic. They're realistic. They see life as it is, unvarnished. They face injustice, pain, adversity, betrayal without flinching. They don't escape into everything will be fine to dodge the truth that sometimes things aren't fine and don't need to be. You just need clarity to avoid being swept by circumstances and to choose how to live within them. Often, the most painful truth is the truest. When you dare to meet it eye to eye, it loses its grip on you. The faster you accept reality, the faster you recover. The longer you deny, the longer you stall. Reality can be brutal, but it's real. Real is always better than false, because only the real lets you build something lasting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't dream of a perfect life. Embrace what comes as if you chose it." This isn't defeatist, it's proactive. Embracing events as if you chose them shifts your stance. You're no longer a victim, but a learner. You stop asking, "Why me?" and ask, "What can I learn?" That question sparks true power. Many live waiting for someone to change, for pain to pass, for life to ease. But you'll never master life living on hopes instead of facts. The sooner you accept what's really happening, the sooner you can change what's possible. You can't alter the past or human nature, but you can shift how you live with them, and that's enough to transform a life. If you're in a tough spot, pause. Face it. No sugarcoating, no excuses, no blame. Tell yourself, this is reality. I'm strong enough to live it. That may be the first step to break free from delay, resentment, or emotional paralysis. From there, act, not from fantasy, but from the solid ground where you stand. If this opens a new perspective, if you're tired of fighting the unchangeable, if you're ready to live in truth over delusion, comment, "I accept reality to master myself." Like the video if you've dodged truth but are now ready to face it. Subscribe if you want to turn mastering life from theory to daily practice. The first step to change your life is accepting exactly where you stand. Number 7, strength is built in surrender to what is to most modern minds. Surrender carries a negative sting, linked to failure, weakness, or giving up. But in Stoic thought, and in any deep inner growth, surrender isn't frailty, it's strength. Not the fist-raising strength that fights the world, but the quiet power of someone profound, steady, and wise enough to say, "I can't change this, and I don't need to fight it to prove anything." Surrendering to reality might sound like resignation, but it's about accepting what is, not dodging or forcing it, so you can adjust yourself wisely instead of wasting energy on futile resistance. When you surrender to reality, you don't quit. You refuse to battle the unchangeable, preserving your vitality for what you can influence. Many confuse resistance with strength. They think fighting, rebelling, asserting their stance, or bending life to their will proves grit. But the more you force, the more you hurt. The more you resist, the more you unbalance. You don't grow stronger beating reality. You grow stronger embracing it, saying, "This is the situation, the truth, the limit, and I don't need to fight it to remain myself." Acceptance isn't passivity, it's transformation. You don't accept to stay still, you accept to find the real ground to act rightly. In pain, loss, or disappointment, your first instinct might be denial or defiance. But if you can breathe deeply and say, "I'm hurting, and that's real," you're halfway to healing. Strength doesn't come from denying pain, but from sitting with it without crumbling. Stoics know some things in life can't be resisted: a loved one's death, an irreversible choice, an unwanted condition. These moments hit, sudden, fierce, unavoidable. The question is how you respond. The wise don't retreat into resentment or freeze in helplessness. They acknowledge, "This is happening. Instead of wasting energy denying it, I'll learn to live with it without losing myself." That's resilience. Stoic surrender is active, a choice. It's rising and moving forward, wounds and all. It's not letting pain dictate behavior. It's staying calm as the world crumbles. Nothing is stronger than someone who surrenders at the right time. They're no longer blindly battered by life. They live with deep insight. Some things are only reached through acceptance. You'll never control everything in life, but you always control how you show up. Constantly fighting what's not ideal exhausts you. But bowing at the right moment, not in defeat, but knowing when to hold or release, preserves your deepest treasure, inner peace. Rightful surrender reflects trust in life's larger rhythm. When you stop forcing, you see life's true pulse. When you don't demand your way, you grasp what's really happening. You shift from feeling threatened to feeling steady. This isn't blind faith, it's trust forged through experience. Even without controlling everything, you're strong enough to stand firm. If you're straining to control a situation that's hurting you more with each push, pause, breathe, say, I've done my part. Now I let go to stop wounding myself. That doesn't weaken you, it lightens you. In that lightness, you find strength to move forward, not burdened, but aware. If this helps you release something you've carried too long, if a part of you feels freed, comment, I am strong when I let go. Like the video if you've mistaken surrender for weakness and now see the difference. Subscribe to continue building strength through clarity, not blind resistance. Sometimes strength isn't straining. It's daring to say, I accept this, and I still live rightly. Number 8, your peace begins where control ends. Peace doesn't arrive when everything aligns with your wishes. It doesn't come from controlling others, circumstances, outcomes, or emotions. Nor does it emerge by fleeing life to hide in a quiet room. True peace begins elsewhere, where you stop trying to control the uncontrollable. This is the boundary Stoics know well, the line between duty and release, between what you can do and what you must let go, between a mind obsessed with results and one content to be still. Modern people often equate strength with control. They believe the strong command everything: career, love, finances, others' feelings, life's pace. When something slips beyond their grasp, they panic, thinking they've lost control. But the truth is, you never controlled everything, just clung to the illusion of it. When that illusion crumbles, you hurt, not from losing control, but from losing a false belief. Stoics don't seek peace by escaping life. They live fully in it, yet aren't dragged by it. They play the game but don't stake their identity on it. They work hard but don't tie self-worth to outcomes. They love deeply but don't possess their beloved. They feel pain like anyone, yet aren't drowned by it. Why? They grasp a simple, liberating truth. Peace begins when you stop controlling what's not yours. You can live in a chaotic world with a steady heart if you don't try to tame the chaos. You can fail without falling if you don't define yourself by success. You can be misunderstood without losing calm if you don't need universal approval. It's not easy, but as you train your mind to stop chasing external triggers, you'll find peace isn't in circumstances. It's in how you meet them. Letting go of control isn't neglect. It's a conscious act. I've done my part, the rest isn't mine. Living this way, you stop draining energy on what's not yours. Remarkably, when you release at the right moment, you make space for what's truly worthy, things born of wholeness, not control. Examine your life. Do you lose composure when plans derail? Feel uneasy when you can't read others' emotions? Constantly check, guard, or fret about the future, as if not thinking dooms you? If so, your mind's in the wrong place. You're using it to wrestle what's beyond your power. That's what steals your peace. Ask yourself, is what I'm clinging to truly mine? The outcome of a talk, someone's feelings, an ex's attitude, crowd approval, parental expectations, global shifts. You might influence these, but you can't fully control them. Each attempt to do the impossible wounds you. But return to what you always control, your mindset, actions, responses, breath, and you'll feel lighter. Peace isn't a finish line to chase. It's a state within you, buried under the urge to control. As you shed layers of expectation, stubbornness, and things must be my way, you uncover a quiet space beneath. It's untouchable, unstealable, unbreakable, unless you shatter it by thrusting yourself into control's grip. If you're stressed, anxious, sleepless, or chronically tired without cause, check. What are you holding tight? Who are you trying to control? What are you refusing to accept? If you're brave enough to let go, you'll feel real, deep, liberating relief, not because life perfects, but because you stop demanding it must. Comment, I let go of control for peace. If you've gripped too much that's not yours and now choose to return to yourself. Like the video if one timely release has shifted your day. Subscribe for daily reminders to live deeper, clearer, stronger. Peace isn't out there. It starts where you stop trying to control it all. Number 9, the Stoic mind filters chaos through clarity. The world is never short of chaos. News shifts by the minute. Social media bombards you with clashing opinions daily. Work piles on relentlessly. A small misunderstanding can unravel relationships. Emotions swing wildly. Something's always waiting to unsettle you, provoke rash reactions, or throw you off course. The question isn't, how do I avoid chaos? You can't. It's how does your mind filter chaos? Stoics don't wait for a calm world to live calmly. They know life is a turbulent stream. Instead of controlling the storm, they train their minds to stay clear. They don't let chaos pass through unchecked. They filter it through reason, self-reflection, and hard-won principles. This keeps them from being swept by noise or paralyzed by anxiety. They stand firm because they carry an inner center of clarity, seeing everything through a lens of lucidity. Reason doesn't harden you. It orders your inner world amid outer disorder. When insulted, an unfiltered mind reacts instantly. A trained mind asks, is this true? Does it demand my response? Is it worth my peace? One pause can prevent a fight, a bad choice, or the loss of your most precious asset, your character. Chaos isn't as dangerous as not knowing it's pulling you. You can't live untriggered, but you can choose what enters your mind deeply. You can refuse to react hastily, reject despair from bad news, keep what matters, and release the rest. This doesn't come naturally, it's forged. You train your mind as a filter, sorting, processing, and redefining chaos before it touches your core. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Stoics embody this. Every event is scrutinized. Is it meaningful? True? Important? Is there something to learn or act on? If not, they let it go. No holding, explaining, or caring. The less clutter in your mind, the more room for clarity and depth. You can't stop negative comments, but you can filter them out before they haunt your sleep. You can't dodge work stress, but you can separate it from your self-worth. You can't block society's bad news, but you can limit its grip on your mind. An unfiltered mind drowns in noise. A filtered mind lives with purpose. The beauty is, the more you filter chaos through reason, the less emotions sway you, not because you're numb, but because you choose which emotions to engage. You feel anger, but don't let it act for you. You feel pain, but don't weaponize it. You feel hurt, but don't use it to harm others. You know what's happening and how you want to live despite it. In a world where everyone reacts instantly, clamors to be heard, and gets triggered by what's out of reach, the person who pauses, analyzes, and chooses a response stands out. They have depth, grit, and real influence. They don't need to shout or prove themselves. Their clear actions speak. If your mind feels heavy, chaotic, or emotionally tangled, you're likely letting too many inputs flood in unfiltered. Start training clarity. Each day before absorbing something, ask, is this true? Necessary? Does it serve my values? If not, let it pass. A clean mind is as vital as a clean body. An unfiltered mind can't make sound choices. Comment, I choose clarity amid chaos. If you've been swept away but now see the power of a filtered mind, like the video if one thoughtful pause has saved you from a wrong move, subscribe to keep forging a clear mind, awake heart, and steady grit in a messy world. A clear mind is the foundation of a deep life. Number 10, control is internal, not external. We grow up with a false belief. Success means controlling circumstances, people, and outcomes. When things don't go as planned, we conclude we're losing control, failing, and must try harder to steer the external world. This is the root of unease. The more you grasp at the outside, the more anxiety, stress, and disorientation you invite. The simple truth is, true control isn't external, it's internal. You can't force others to act rightly, but you can uphold your own integrity. You can't ensure every effort yields perfect results, but you can choose how you invest your effort with kindness, persistence, discipline. You can't stop life's upheavals, but you can decide how to rise from them without complaint, blame, or self-pity. This is why Stoics don't seek external power. They turn inward, building an inner fortress no circumstance can shake. Your inner world is the only territory you fully govern. There, you can choose one thought over another, shift your response instead of following emotions, and reshape your attitude, meaning, and direction, even in chaos. Those who understand this stop wasting energy controlling the world and start forging themselves. Every thought, word, and action rooted in true control. Those who don't get it chase external stability. They think enough money, love, titles, or approval will bring peace. But peace from outside is fragile. It comes with conditions and vanishes when they do. Inner peace is enduring. It doesn't need understanding, followers, or a favorable world. It only needs you to stand rightly within yourself. Control is internal. This is the core principle. When you realize no one but you commands your emotions, thoughts, and actions, you live differently. You stop blaming others for hurting you. You stop seeking external validation. You don't strain to prove anything. True power isn't making others change. It's staying true when everything else goes wrong. You don't need to control everything to live with value. You just need to master what's yours, your part. Stoics don't shun life. They refuse to be dragged by it. They embrace social duty but are clear. I do this because it aligns with my principles, not because I need something from others. This inner steadiness fuels their influence, not through dominance but through character. Every time you pause to respond instead of wound, you build inner strength. Every time you stay clear-headed under attack, not letting anger steer, you hold control. Every time you do right without applause, you forge principles beyond the need for recognition. These small, consistent acts create a bedrock, letting you live steady even when the world isn't. External control comes and goes. Internal control, once built strong, stays lifelong. No one can steal how you see life. No one can dictate your chosen actions. No one can rob your dignity unless you surrender it. This is the deepest freedom, to live rightly in a shifting world. If you're exhausted from trying to control outcomes, people, or situations, feeling lost the harder you try, you're focusing on the wrong place. Pull back, return to what you can control, how you think, act, and uphold your principles. From there, you'll find not just peace, but reliability, grit, and depth day by day. Comment, I control from within. If you're choosing a new way, where true strength starts with you. Like the video if you've lived too much for others and now want to master yourself. Subscribe to keep building inner strength unbroken. True control isn't seizing everything. It's holding yourself steady in what you can master, every day, relentlessly. If you've watched this far, you've likely grasped something few are taught early. You don't need to control everything to live peacefully. You don't need to change the world to live with value. You only need to start with one thing: controlling yourself, your mind, your reactions, your actions. Each time you choose to think more carefully, act more deliberately, or respond more consciously, you're reclaiming power scattered on things that don't matter. This journey isn't easy. There will be times you get swept away, moments you forget what you control and what controls you. But all it takes is to pause, reflect, and choose again. Because awareness isn't a state you achieve once. It's a practice you cultivate daily. If this message resonates, if you're truly choosing a steadier, more intentional, and inwardly peaceful life, leave a comment. I will focus on what I control. Like this video if any part touched you. Share it with someone lost in chaos who needs a clear path. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel now. Every day I'll be here, walking with you on the path to building a resilient mind, a clear life, and a life no longer swayed by what you can't control.